Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. First off, new video here. This one's going to be kind of a long one. So sit down, buckle up, and shut up. This is going to be one hell of a long journey. We're going to be talking about one of my most loved and my most hated rifles, and a bunch of other cool stuff along the way. I have 3 variations here in various states of completion, and disassembly and reassembly. Some need some parts replaced, some are still waiting on some parts. One is entirely done and all set and ready to go, but it's probably the least cool of all of them, to be fair. But that's for you to decide, honestly, because I love them all and hate them all equally as if they were my own children. I just wish I could beat the snot out of them when they didn't work as good like children. That's a joke. Don't beat your kids unless they really deserve it deep down. And I'm not telling you how to parent, but I wouldn't beat up on any of these guns unless I really felt like it. But we're going to be talking about some cool and unique things about the Smle. Basically, the 3 versions I own of the short magazine Lee Enfield. 2 of mine are made by Ishapore, and 1 of mine is made by Enfield. So we're going to get into some cool stuff about that today, and show you about a lot of cool stuff. And I got the 3 rounds that these 3 rifles laid here in front of me that you can't see shoot. So originally, all of the Smles were going to be chambered in this 303 British, which is a big rimmed cartridge. It's 7.7 millimeter by 56 rimmed for you metric people. For everyone else, it's 303 British. Then I have one of my Ishipores is going to be in 7.62 by 51 Winchester, or 308 as it's known in the United States and Canada. So 308 Winchester. They're not quite the same cartridge, but they're very similar, and they will work in both rifles usually. And the very last one is in 410 or 41 caliber for a musket. So that would be about it. I don't have one of the original rounds for it, but this is a snap cap, so I'll at least show you how it works and stuff like that. My original rounds are just taking their sweet time getting here, and I hear mixed reviews about that ammo anyways. But since it was ringed for American 410 shells, I figured they will work for this video. So the very first rifle I have to show you here is the oldest one, arguably, because it actually is the oldest one. And this is a project rifle I got for myself as a birthday present. It is an Smle #1 Mark III short Lee Enfield. So if we take a look here at the tang there, as you can see, it is a #3, no star upgrade, short Lee Enfield, actually made by Enfield. I bought this very cheaply as just a barrel and a receiver. Every other part on this I put onto this. It didn't come with a front sight. I had to put that on. Didn't come with the barrel band. I had to put that on. Didn't come with the rear sight. I had to put that on. The rear sight base was there though. Didn't come with the magazine cutoff. I had to put that on. So you can see the magazine cutoff and how it would work. It came with an ejector screw put into it, but the ejector screw was effed from somebody trying to take it out, so I replaced that. Didn't come with a bolt like at all, so I had to replace the bolt. And didn't come with a safety. I had to put the safety on it. Didn't come with a stock screw. I had to put the stock screw on it. Didn't come with a floor plate, a sear, or anything like that. So I put basically everything on this rifle except for the barrel and the receiver. Those came from the factory, I presume, considering they're all matching and they perfectly line up. So yeah, they're matching numbers, so which is pretty cool, pretty neat. You don't see that very often. Considering the receiver would have been made in, when does it say here, 1915, and the barrel was actually made in 1931, which is weird. So, but it has a brand new barrel basically on this receiver, and it has the volley sights, at least the rear volley sight fixed, and all the other cool stuff, the 5-piece safety, all that jazz. And this would have been originally in a 303 caliber. So just imagine it, looking like this basically with the wood on it. I'm still waiting on the wood. The wood is taking a sweet time getting here because COVID and all the other good jazz as far as the specific. It could have been here already, but waiting on I got a very specific and expensive piece of wood that right at basically the height of COVID, so I knew it was going to take forever to get here, but it's in the works. They're making it. I'm getting cool pictures of it, how it's coming along the way, which is going pretty good. So it looks fantastic so far. I can't wait to have it in like 2 months when they get it done and finally shipped to me. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but I'm going worst case scenario like with everything else right now. So we'll move up to the next Smle I have here in date-wise, if we're going off the date on the receiver. And this would be an Ishapore manufactured. You probably can't see that because they gave it this weird enamel paint, which is fantastic, but I'll show the markings close up later. But this one happens to be the 410. So this is the, as you can see, it's a snap cap. Deactivate around, you would just set it into the action there, close it, and it would work just fine. So it functions well. It's a neat little single shot shotgun. They're very easy convertible back to magazine firing. A lot of people seem to think that is this follower there has been permanently affixed, but it's only held in place with 4 very tiny rivets. Once you grind those off, you could just pull this follower out, take this plug of wood, if you can see it there, that plug of wood out of the stock, and it'll take a magazine just like normal. So and you can 410 shells, I have tested them, do fit into an Smle magazine just fine. So it's incredibly doable. They seem to feed all right. Then again, I do not have a magazine rifle that fully chambers 410. But the next piece we'll look at is obviously, that is one pretty bored out barrel because it is the shotgun. That's one of the telltales. Other than that, if this was closed, you would never be able to tell if you took the magazine out of your other Smles. This one apart from the other ones. Same charger bridge, same everything. One very distinct giveaway, if you know what you're looking at, is the rear sight. Alright, so if you can see here, there's a big rivet in the middle of the rear sight, and the plunger here on the side for adjusting it, sliding it up and down the tangent here is missing. Well, that's because it didn't need to be there anymore, because the sight is now permanently affixed in place at the 200 yard position. As you can see there, the rivet goes all the way through the slider there. So pretty neat, as you can tell. So yeah, it works quite well. Haven't shot this one yet. Looking really forward to that. Other than that, it's the same thing, other than this now has the late pattern. So basically the later version. So during World War I, they went to this type of square cocking piece, which, as you can see, works just normal. As the I prefer the round cocking piece, but the square cocking piece would pretty much become standard in the refurbishments during World War I. So you'd see that would be very common thing to find on an Smle that was made during or after World War I. So the pre-World War I ones would have this, which would be the round cocking piece, which tends to be a lot more comfortable to use, and I like it a lot better. So I just find it easier to use. They work about the same though. So, and then the last Smle I have here, which if we're going off by the date on the receiver, so I didn't mention the date on the receiver on the 410. It's originally 1933, and then in 1949 it was converted to 410. So this one here is made in 1968, and this one is in 308 Winchester, basically, or 7.62 by 51 NATO. Now this one has some giveaways in the fact that the magazine looks kind of weird on it. Other than that, the charger bridge is a little different because it now takes NATO standard 7.62 by 51 5-round stripper clips, Mauser style, no longer the British chargers. The rear sight leaf is the same sight leaf that you would find on an Smle. It's just now got different markings, and the ramp has changed to be more to be correctly sighted for the 7.62 by 51 NATO cartridge. But the 2A, so this is a 2A1, the 2A would still have the same rear sight, graduated in 303, and the same rear sight base as the older SMLEs. So they would have this sight ramp and the same sight graduated out in yards still. This would be, this is now in meters. This is after India converted to metric. And as you can see there, the sight base is now more triangular rather than being kind of round, that crescent shape that is very synonymous with the SMLE. So, and the sight markings only go out to 800 meters. The other way to tell that this is a 2A1 or 2A is the really kind of squared, chunky, flat, ultra heavy nose cap. So the nose cap in this one, they weren't trying to save metal or anything, they were just trying to save machine hours. This isn't made at a time when metal is scarce or anything like that. They just went to, how is this easy to make? So they just machined this out of a solid chunk. It's not as intricate or as hard to make as this type of nose cap. As you can see, it's got rounder bits in it and everything like that. It's harder to make. Other than that, they take the same bayonet. They're basically the same underneath, same attachment method, same screws are attached. The only difference is the SMLE will have a bayonet, behind the bayonet lug, it'll have a swing swivel attachment for the piling swivel, which is what you use to make your rifle TP to keep your guns out of the mud when you're in camp. This no longer has that. It's just not milled in. It's not like it was removed or anything, but they just purposely went away with that. They figured they didn't need it anymore. This wasn't intended to be a frontline combat rifle. It's meant to be given to truck drivers, and phone operators and stuff like that. People that are near the front lines, but not on the front lines, basically. People on the front lines would be given an FAL. So, but those are kind of the cool overview looks at these SMLEs here, and I'm going to now flip the camera around, get you some close-ups on some of the markings and stuff like that, and different kind of features and finishes they have, and we'll move on to that right now. Alrighty, now here we are at the closer camera angle. You get to see a cool skeletonized SMLE, basically how it would look exactly without its wood. And this is exactly how it would look. But we're not interested in that today. We're interested in the markings. So now a lot of you who don't know where to find the markings on your SMLE, it'll be right under the bolt handle there on the receiver, on kind of this collar on the receiver where the forestock meets the buttstock. So that's kind of an integral part. So as you can see here, this one was made by Enfield in 1915. It is a model short Lee Enfield, and it is a Mark III. Now the other markings that you really need to be concerned about on an SMLE are obviously up here on the receiver. There's the serial number, all right, and then there is all of your fancy proof marks. The British love their proof marks, so this is a pretty neat thing to see on a lot of the British rifles. So, but that's about it. As you can see here, this is the early pattern windage adjustable rear sight. Other than that, it's got the magazine cut off here. Now, one of my other Enfield rifles here has once was a rifle like this with the magazine cut off, and as you can see there, then it has the volley sight, the 5-position safety, all that other good jazz that it will eventually be completed here very soon. So that's going to be my original Lee Enfield number 1 Mark III. Now moving on to the Ishapore here, the Ishapore 410. We're going to once again lift up the bolt handle, and you could take a look in there. I'm gonna try to angle this so if my stuff changes. All right, so there you are. You can see the GRI. And the crown, which means that this was accepted into the Royal Military. The GRI stands for Georgius Rex Imperial, basically. I'm probably butchering that because I don't speak any Latin. But it's basically, this rifle was manufactured under King George, so is what that means. And Rex obviously means king, and Imperial means like empire, basically. So it's basically King George of the British Empire. So, and it's made by, as you can see there, Ishipore, spelled out, in 1933. It is a model short Lee Enfield. So, and that's about it. There's no 3 marking or anything on this one. And it's got this nice black enamel paint on it, basically. Now, the Indians, who run Ishapore, obviously, nowadays anyways, don't, it's pretty hard to see them without this kind of black enamel paint. As you can see, it's not very shiny, like nice bluing, anymore, because they put these in storage for a long time, and this paint helps keep it, keeps the finish and the metal from corroding away in India's very hot, humid environment, anyways. Safety is obviously still the 5-position safety, works just normal. Alright, so if you watch the cocking piece there, it just cams the cocking piece back ever so slightly, so it disengages the trigger. So if it's back, you can't pull the trigger, and you can do it while it's closed or while it's open. All the Enfields have this cool feature. They have a like half cock position, where you can't run the safety, you can't pull the trigger, and you can't work the bolt. So you need to pull back the cocking piece all the way in order for it to work. So this has, once again, the charger guide for a standard 303 round. If I pull it back, you can see that permanently affixed sheet metal follower there, meant to convert this into a single shot. Underneath, obviously, you can see there's a plug of wood that has been filled there, and they have, as you can see, cut the magazine release catch. It's still in there, obviously. It needs to be in there to be part of the spring. So you can see it right there at the tip of my thumb, where it would be, and it would be sticking out back here, so you could push up on that to release the magazine. They ground it off, so the trigger spring can be there still. This rifle, if you can see it here, it has now been since covered up because this was converted to a star pattern for the most part. That little channel there was once where the magazine was cut off on the magazine cutoff would have been on when this was an original rifle. It can easily be converted. There's still just a little screw hole right there for it, ready to go. So it could be converted back. Now if we flip back, instances to where this was an original Shortly Enfield 2 is it has the windage adjustable rear sight protector. It no longer has the rear sight. The rear sight was probably replaced at some point to the non-windage adjustable model, so it doesn't have a little dial here on the side like on the rifle I just showed you. As you can see here, it's been permanently pinned in place at the 200-yard mark, the button for adjusting it has been removed. If we flip it all the way over, you can see the rivet goes all the way through the front sight adjustment there. So if we walk it forward, it's still standardly Enfield, still has the same standard nose cap. Once again, still all in that black enamel paint, but there is the huge muzzle on the 41 caliber Mustang. All right, so there is in my left hand here on the left side of your screen, a normal 303 caliber. And then you see the 41 caliber smoothbore reamed out up there. So, which is pretty interesting stuff. Now if we go to the, oh by the way, that one has a walnut stock still. Now we're going over to the Ishipore 2A1. Now this one, rosewood stock, aluminum butt plate. Brass butt plates have been removed. The other two will have brass butt plates. This one has an aluminum FAL butt plate, and it's held in place with Phillips head screws rather than flathead screws. The stock is rosewood rather than walnut. That was something the Indians have, one of the hardwoods they have quick access to. Alright, now if we look at it, there you can see rifle 7.62mm 2A1 RFI 1967. Now RFI stands for Rifle Factory Ishapore. It's just an abbreviation. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. You can see the magazine follower in there, because the magazine is in the rifle, so that pushes down, unlike with the other one. This one takes the standard 308 or 7.62 by 51 NATO. Here is your sights to kind of prove it. There you go. It's all incremented out to 800 meters now. It's all metric. Notice it's so late, there is no more windage adjustable front sight, rear sight protectors. It's just the normal equal spacing on both sides there. Walking forward, you can see basically the same. Nose plate, nose cap has been changed for economy, still takes the same front sight blades as all the standard SMLEs. So I hope that's been cool, and we will go back to the other view now and wrap the video up. So hopefully you guys learned something cool about the Enfield rifles and stuff like that, or in some cases, like this one, shotgun or musket, depending on how you feel about it. Because I certainly love collecting Enfields, have a lot of experience with a lot of different kinds of Enfields. The collection's coming along well now that I have a lot of the kind of weirder ones and all that other cool stuff. I hope you learned something from this video. This was just kind of an overview, not really getting into history so much as just looking at some of the variations to kind of keep the video from being incredibly long. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and you love Enfields as much as I do. This one's going to need some work. We're going to take it apart and hopefully walk through replacing some of the more hard to replace parts of this now that I have cool editing software and stuff, and I can do that a lot easier and show you guys with better detail as far as how that stuff would work. But until that time comes, thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you think I'm worth a contribution to the channel, there will be a link to my Patreon in the description, or you can go to the About section of my page and find it there as well. So all of the money goes a long ways as far as helping upgrade camera equipment, editing software. In this case, I bought editing software with Patreon money. Goes to help find ammo to help shoot these cool guns, and original ammo to see how that works as well. As far as to add to the collection, because it goes good for having original ammo for the videos. I'm tired of using commercial ammo and stuff like that. But it also goes a long ways to help me get the accessories and stuff for these firearms, as well as parts that they're going to need to be replaced. Like this old girl here, she needs some work. She's going to need a facelift and a couple things here. Get some chiropractic and stuff done with like that for her, so she'll work out a little bit nicer and all that other good stuff. But so if you think that's something you're interested in, as little as $1 a month goes a long ways. More is greatly appreciated as always. If you do a lifetime contribution, you can get into the Discord where you can meet the other lifetime contributors of the channel and stuff like that too, and find a great community over there. There's just a handful of people in it. It's also the best way to show me stuff, like if you have questions on a helmet or a serial number or something like that, that's the best way to get a hold of me and send pictures, as well as get information from a lot of other nerds that are like me that help support the channel. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I see all you guys in the next video, and I look forward to a lot of future stuff with this new girl, this being my newest acquisition here. So, and stay tuned for that. Love you all. God save the Queen. Goodbye now. See you in the next video.